Hey guys, what's up? I'm and Pat here, and today we're going to talk about the good news and the bad news about the wildlife event. And also, I have one small correction that you may or may not need to make for MooingCat's cost calculator, depending on how you are spending your currency in this event, especially if you plan on spending diamonds. So, the good news for this event is that it has been absolutely terrific for daily specials. This is my brand new, not even 2 month old Wishing Well world, and so far in this event, not even halfway through, I've picked up 8 log cabins, 3 menageries, a shrine of knowledge, and a handful of other miscellaneous things like metal packs and store buildings and things like that. And I haven't spent any diamonds on this world, so that has been absolutely fantastic. That is great news about this event, and I am so happy about the fact that that has stayed strong from beta over to live. Now, the bad news is that there were a couple of really notable changes that were made between beta and live that were not announced, and they actually turn out to be kind of a really big deal when you look at how it breaks down of what you get from the event. So when you look at the feedback, this is in beta. You can't see it there, but this is beta board. You can see that tickets were coming from incidents, and here you can see there's a screenshot of him getting a ticket from the incident. And in fact, in MooingCat's video, he talks about getting about 15 to 18 tickets from incidents. And then the other change that was made from beta to live is that the quest line got nerfed, and now instead of getting the full amount of, or excuse me, now instead of getting, I'll go up here, instead of getting a ticket every other quest, you get a ticket every third quest. And then also the wildlife coins were dropped from 20 coins down to 10 coins. So basically, the amount of coins that you're getting got cut completely in half, and the amount of wildlife tickets that you're getting basically got cut down by a third, I guess. I don't know, by some amount. I'm not worried about the specific amounts, but the bottom line is that you end up getting, I don't know, I guess it's like 10 or so less tickets from doing the quest line, and a, I don't know, a couple hundred coins less from doing the quest line than in beta. Also in beta, there was another change, and now some of these changes were announced, so I'll point out the changes that were announced. First, there was an issue, and I checked all the change logs on beta just to see what was there. There was an issue with the log cabin overproducing. They fixed that. That's cool. There was a complaint about paws not showing up on the starting board, and they're saying that now paws will start on the starting board. I'm going to circle back to that in a minute. And then lastly, there was, and that's it. That's all of the changes noted in beta, right? So what it seems like, and I could be mistaken, but it seems like the drop rate of paws has been nerfed compared to beta. I was regularly being able to get 4 paws on average in beta by consistently cycling out my blocks, doing big combos, changing the board and whatnot. And I would very consistently get 4 paws without having to spend extensions or boosters or anything like that. Since live, that has not been the case. It has been very uncommon to even see 4 paws on a board. It seems like 3 is the typical amount that I'm seeing by the end of a round. Granted, you do have those crazy rounds where like 8 paws show up. You know, I've got that screenshot here where you have this happen. But the other thing that I'm also seeing a lot of is like these really obnoxious bottom things here where it's like every other thing is a different color, right? So you become dependent on being able to match enough of the blocks in the columns, and it's totally random what shows up. So so that is a challenge. And don't get me wrong, like this is a skill-based event, and I am a big fan of skill-based events because that means that players that are skilled at the event can actually get better prizes than just the random picking your players or picking your origami or whatever it is. Like there's definitely a lot more strategy to this, but it makes balancing a very difficult thing because you have some people who are like expert at Toon Blast or block breaking quests or puzzles or whatever you want to call it, and then you have people that are awful at this. And when people signed up for Forge, they didn't sign up to do this type of thing. Same thing with like the St. Patrick's Day event, and even when you get into like the Halloween event or the archaeology event, even those are a little bit frustrating. Although I like those too, but I think those are significantly less skill dependent than this. The wildlife event is very heavily skill dependent, and I think that leads to a lot of balancing problems that are really frustrating, to say the least. It also makes cost estimating considerably difficult. So, with that said, I want to jump over to the MooingCat spreadsheet to discuss a few things here. And I'll make this a little bit bigger so that we can see. Okay, so this is version 2 here, and he made an updated version 3, which still doesn't fix the issue. So, let me show you what's going on here. All right. So originally, we were able to get whatever it was, 15 tickets from incidents. We were getting something closer. I don't remember what the original amount was, but I think it was like 90 or something from free tickets, and it was very doable. We'll just call it 3.5 per game, or maybe even 3.25 per game. That's probably realistic for what people were being able to get, and you probably weren't doing that. So what was happening is with all this said, it looked reasonable that a player could get a third mountain for less than 20,000 diamonds, and a second one was relatively cheap. And in fact, Moo made a video about how if you were particularly skilled, you might be able to squeak out, if you were really lucky, you might even be able to squeak out a second one for free. Well, that all is gone out the window because now we're down to zero tickets from incidents because they took that out and it wasn't mentioned. And then we reduced the amount of free tickets that we got by 4, or actually not by 4, it's like by 10 over the course of the entire event. So that alone right there just bumped the cost in order to get your full level of a second one to almost 5,000, right? We went from it being like about 1,000 to almost 5,000. And when you consider the fact that there are a lot of players that aren't buying diamonds, that's really a big deal because and me, I'm not buying diamonds anymore. I budget my diamonds carefully because I know that I'm not going to be buying anymore, and I want to make sure I spend them. I don't want to end up falling short of an upgrade. And then the next big thing was that the paws per game have significantly decreased. I'm averaging way more than 3, but I know that is not being the case for a lot of people. But if you drop down to that 3 per game, that is a crazy change. That is huge. And even when, especially with the free tickets that you're missing out on, that were there that are gone, that's several thousand diamonds that are now gone, right? And now this cost has gone up significantly, right? I mean, it's huge change in the cost. So I think that it would have been completely appropriate and ethical for Forge to announce that the incidents were no longer spawning tickets, that they were reducing the amount of tickets and coins from the quest line, and that the paw spawn rate was being reduced. Now, they couldn't do that though, because if you go and you read the feedback on the forums, whether it's on beta or especially if you go to the live, you will find a just, I mean, if you go through the pages of the feedback, you just have page after page of players being frustrated about how they have to spend boosters in order to get paws, and how the paw spawn rate sucks, and how it's challenging and this and that. And don't get me wrong, it's not, I'm glad that it's challenging and all that, but that meant that Inno really couldn't announce that they were nerfing the spawn rate and the amount of tickets and all that. But what that did was it made something here where a player like me and like a lot of other players I know who are budgeting, who are saying, okay, I'm going to get 2 or I'm going to get 3. Well, you go into the event and start spending diamonds, and then it doesn't work. So to make matters worse, and I'm sure this was completely unintentional, but there was a minor mistake in the cost estimation for this spreadsheet. The big booster pack cost was not factored into the diamond cost for adding, for when you add each additional mountain reserve. Now, the way you can tell is when you go here, and wow, that's really bizarre. Oh, I think I'd already corrected on this here. So this is version 3 of the deal, and say you have 40 booster packs, right? Well, this is saying it's going to cost you 0 diamonds to get 5, to get 4 of these, and then, the 5th one is going to cost you a few diamonds, right? Now, obviously, this is ridiculous. Obviously, if you get 40 booster packs, it's going to cost you a ton of diamonds. You can see over here that there's this cost estimation of how many coins are going to be required to buy this amount of booster packs. But the problem is that that's not factored into this cost calculator here, right? The coin cost that you get only counts the extra moves that you're buying, and it completely forgets to factor in the amount of big booster packs that you're buying. So when it crunches these numbers, they come out wrong. It is an easy fix, especially if you are going to use booster packs, and I'll show you how to do that. The fix is very simple. What you do is you add this, and I have a little plus there, I have it wrong there, but you add this plus G8 times 1230. And what we're doing there is we're basically saying how many big booster packs are you buying times the number of coins that it costs to buy those, and that will fix how much it costs for the coins, and then that will fix the formula. But you have to add that to each one of these across the board so that it will calculate. And that's actually why when I did my number here a minute ago, you see I have not added that amount into this one, so here it's not calculating correctly, but for these it is calculating correctly. All right, and then also it makes sense that the cost would be very low because you're getting all of your paws from booster packs as opposed to tickets and extra moves and all that. Okay, so that moves us to the next question, which is, if you are spending your diamonds, should you spend them on the booster packs or on the extra moves or on tickets? So let's crunch some numbers. Okay, so I put together this quick little chart to show the cost on a per diamond basis, or a diamond spent per paws basis. And basically you want to have the least amount of diamonds spent per paw. That makes sense, right? So if you look at tickets, right, if you buy 10 tickets at 1800 and you get 3 paws per ticket on average, that comes out to be 60 diamonds per paw. With the big boosters, you get 30 boosters per pack. Now we had to do a quick little conversion because it's only 1230 coins, but you have to buy in packs of 2000 for it to be efficient, and those cost 2400 diamonds. So a big booster pack comes out to costing just under 1500 diamonds when you just factor out the per cost. So say you get exactly 1 paw per booster that you use, that comes out to be just less than 50 diamonds per paw. So that makes that a really efficient use of diamond spend, and I'll get into that in a minute. And then for extensions, a lot of this comes down to skill and luck, right? I mean, you have to be in a position where you can get lots of paws and whatnot. So with the extensions, if you only get 1 paw per extension, that is only 1 paw per 78 diamonds spent, which is the least efficient spend of your currency possible. And you could even make the case on this for a coin basis where it makes sense to spend your coins on the boosters. Okay, I had to look for it for a second, but I found this example, which I thought was a really good demonstration of why sometimes just buying boosters is a much better option than going for other items instead, or like extending instead. With this board, even if you could break this up a little bit, you're very dependent on luck, because how do you get this red one out of the way? Not super easy to do. There's not really an easy way to guarantee it, because you'd have to get this red one, or you'd have to hope that something dropped from here. There's just a lot of challenges for breaking this up. Whereas all it would take would be spending for one single windmill. You put it right here, you break these, so that gets you those four, and then that yellow will drop down, and that will get you this one there. And you could even already break that one, so that when all this stuff falls through, then you have the orange one. So basically that one windmill would get you an easy, that's six paws, right? So that's one of those cases where, to me, going with the extension versus a windmill, and based on my estimation for the amount of paws per booster, that would put you way ahead of schedule. That would put you, just from that one right there, that would put you in a case where the diamonds per paw were much better. Now for players that were really good, or if you were in the situation like in beta where it was a lot easier to get paws per tickets, at 4 paws per ticket, that starts getting to be pretty darn good, right? And then on the extension side, if you are always getting 2 paws per extension, that is actually technically the best use of your diamonds or your currency or whatever, in theory. Now, that means that you have to average 2, which is not necessarily the case. Even if you drop it down to 1 3/4 roughly, right? That's still not quite on par with the big booster if you're getting 36. So here's my point, is that if you are spending diamonds on this event, the big booster pack might actually be the better spend over tickets or extensions in a lot of cases, or at least having the coins so that you can pick between extensions and only do extensions when you know you're going to get the 2 paws per. Otherwise, you can see when it's only the one, it is not a very good use of currency on a per coin, per diamond, per whatever basis that you want to base it off of. All right, so when it's all said and done, it definitely makes sense, especially if you are looking at getting that second mountain reserve or even a third, to double check and figure out where you're going to be as far as cost goes. I intend on buying and using the big booster packs. And, obviously, I've shown cases where there is a lot more reliability in doing the booster packs. With the tickets, you're always rolling the dice. You literally could run into a board where you might only get 1 per ticket, or 1 paw per ticket, which will absolutely crush your paws per game, right? Or you might end up getting one where you get 6 for 1 ticket, but you just don't have any control over it. And that's why I am a fan of the booster packs, especially if you're going for 2 or 3 or more, because you have way more control over how many paws you get. It might mean that you aren't optimizing your daily prizes as well as you could, but the reality is that you should be getting so many crazy daily prizes as it is that you can suffer not having quite as many. Now, if you are targeting the daily prizes, obviously, or if you're buying extra tickets, you want to buy those tickets on a day when the daily prize is the one that you want. That's, optimizing here. But at the end of the day, the big booster packs, if used correctly, will end up giving you the best spend per currency. All right, guys. Well, I hope this brought some light onto some of the things that are really good about this event and some of the things that are a little bit frustrating. And then also, let's make sure that you correct the formula if you are using the MooingCat calculator. Again, all you need to do is come down to this line 17, and for this whole line, what you need to do is you need to add right after this $78 times 65, you want to just add plus G8 times 1230. That's it. Once you do that, and you have to do that for each one of these, it will give you the correct cost calculation, and you'll have a better idea of where your spend will go. All right, guys, if this was helpful, please like, subscribe, and I'll catch you later.